That right there, you can't teach that. That right there is like, that's winning 101. But how do you keep them hungry? At the end of the day, here's what it comes down to.
I think we can all learn from a 17-year-old.
You know, there's always been this school of thought. It's like, can you come from success and then be successful? Or do you need to come from failure and be successful? Here's a freaking 17-year-old and he's booking appointments.
I just know that I want to do something in the real estate industry and like make it something bigger than just the agent side.
The result is not what matters. You need to marry yourself to the process, the process, the process.
And that's how we'll go here, because we don't need a lot of introduction. Jared James doesn't need an introduction.
Oh, boy.
By the way, you are, I've said this before, but you've gained the most attention of anybody in real estate in 2024. Like,
that's an interesting comment. I'd have to think about that.
I think you have. I mean, there's obviously, we know who the leaders are in the industry, but I think you've reached newer audience.
I'd say that, yeah, there's no doubt. That's an interesting thing. It's the first time you're making me think about that. And if I'm being honest, obviously there's ways that you have to gauge things. I've definitely gained more followers than I think anyone who's not a bikini model on a reality show.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, so you're not subscribed to my OnlyFans? Are you kidding me? I thought you were one of the 4. No, but I mean, seriously, when you look at the social world, it's like, there's the reality of people following you for content and for real stuff. And then I have big boobs and I wear bikinis and they're following for a whole different reason when people don't even know their names. And I always separate them and I'm like, yeah, we don't compete with them because, they're here and gone. They're going to grow out of that. Us on this side, you're right, probably, if I thought about it.
I think you are. And so we've got Jared James. He's obviously a coach, keynote speaker, author, making a huge impact on a lot of real estate professionals, agents of change across the industry. But just as importantly, not more importantly, just as importantly, we have with us Grayson James.
Oh,
I've had the pleasure of getting to know Grayson a little bit over the summer. You're a little bit more than halfway through your internship here. And we're sitting in my Connecticut office. I have a team in Connecticut. It's an honor to have Grayson working with us.
Thank you, Byron.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
I'm loving it. This has been a great summer so far.
And so we've never done this where we have an intern sit in and do a pod. Obviously, having Jared join the pod, Grayson's first podcast, it's going to be a unique conversation. We've all agreed that no questions off the table.
Nothing.
Yeah. Jared told me that, but I got to get your
That
agreement.
works for me.
He said, no, ask anything, childhood, struggles, stuff about real estate. When Jared told me, he's like, hey, my son's, he lives here and obviously in Connecticut. Jared lives in Connecticut, wants to get into real estate. He's 17 years old right now. Kid's an athlete. He's competitive, top soccer player in the state of Connecticut. He was telling me about this. We were just kind of hanging out and shooting the shit. And I said, well, he should come into the office in the summer and do an internship. I mean, there isn't a team since 2021 that sold more homes than this one in this state.
Super interested in real estate, media, the whole thing. Yeah.
Media, he can pick up a few things and we'll see if he learns anything over the summer. Jared's like, yeah, I'll pitch it to him. See if he, last summer you had
pitch
him
it
doing
to
what?
him. Are you kidding me? He was practically begging me. Pitch it to him.
Last summer you had him hauling crap
hauling junk.
Yep.
Literally hauling junk every day.
Every
day he
day.
would say, Dad, I can't do this anymore. And it wasn't the hauling junk, it was the environment, because he'd be in that truck with guys smoking and doing whatever, and he's just like, I'm smelling like I can't. It wasn't the junk. It was the car rides and just like he's like, I'm just they're smoking and like I can't breathe and I can't whatever. And then he got his first honey, and I don't mean girl, I mean like $100 bill.
Yeah.
And he got his first tip, and all of a sudden he's like, the smoke ain't that bad. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
And he did it for the summer.
You might have made more money hauling junk than minimum wage on this internship.
I don't know, because I'm
Not
working a
long-term.
lot more here, but with the haul and junk, the tips after some of the jobs were pretty nice.
You got more money if you're getting cash money. So what's been the biggest culture shift from hauling junk last summer and then being in this office and being around real estate agents and some of the BAM Media peeps? We got Bobby here on the days that you're in the office.
Well, it's the complete shift in environment, right? So it's like I'm getting to like the warehouse every day at 8 a.m. Then we're in a truck driving to who knows where. like New London and stuff like that, hauling junk like in houses that like falling apart and all that. And you come here, like I'm dressed in like my nicer clothes. I'm on the phone all day, so definitely a big shift in that.
He's got
Especially
t-shirt and shorts,
everybody. T-shirt and shorts. Okay? Nicer clothes.
First couple of weeks, it was a polo and khakis.
He was scared. He was scared to death to wear shorts. Can I wear shorts, Dad?
Well, he texted me before the first day. He
Yeah,
goes,
I was like,
"What's the dress code?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we don't." I'm thinking in my head, I don't have a dress code. I don't have a dress code.
Byron, if you don't think that he didn't run every text by me before he sent it to you, okay? And my thing is, it's like a kid playing sports where it's that first time that somebody coaches them who's not you, but it's healthy for them. You know, so it's and some people have trouble letting go of that, but I enjoy that because I think it's important for your kids to learn to listen to different voices and to have different styles and to have different. And so one of the things I was trying to do with him, because he was so scared of like, do I text him? Do I not? What do I say? What do I not say? Oh my God. And he didn't know what to do. And I'm like, just need to reach out. You need to learn to talk to Byron. Let him talk back. You need to learn that communication that happens between a teenager and adult. And they don't want to screw up, but they also need to learn how to create that communication. And so he would like run everything by me, and I'm just like, you just need to reach out to Byron. Just do it. Just go talk to him. Like you need someone else to tell you this is how you do things. This is what we do. This is what, and that's one of the things I really was looking forward to with him being here was having these different voices who weren't his dad.
Yeah, I mean, you know so many leaders in the industry and people that have had success in the industry. You've had a lot of success before you started coaching and training, building. A company right here in Connecticut. Yeah. And there's probably, what's interesting about you saying, hey, Grayson, you should go do this internship if you're interested in real estate. And I'm curious why you are interested in real estate. It's interesting because there's probably things that we do here that was different from your business model and vice versa. But you're coming from the mindset of like, hey, they have success. I know, what Byron's all about. Whether I agree with everything or not, this is going to be a place where he can pick up different bits of information and see a different perspective.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not even about agreeing or disagreeing. You've had a ton of success, and I agree with that. You know what I mean? Obviously, he showed me scripts and dialogues, and I love them, and I'll be like, hey, try, throw this out there. That's how your head tends to work. But for me, one of the things I was worried about that you guys didn't do, which I love, was that I didn't want him coming in here, oh, this is Jared's kid, and like now he just doesn't do anything all day, and it's just like, oh, I'm just here for my internship, whatever. I'm watching them do whatever. I loved the fact that he was on the phones. I wanted him to get rejected.
What'd you do day one?
Day one, I got right on the phones, did some training in the middle, and then I set an appointment right at the end of the day.
Absolutely. By what time on day one, so an 8-hour day, right? And you see a lot of agents do. Most agents stay in the office 8 hours?
No.
So
not at all.
You did an 8-hour in the office day, a little bit different. We got you with the inside sales team for a lot of this, for a lot of this outbound reach out. But day one, at what you did training in the morning, by what time were you on the phone?
I want to say I was on the phone by like 11:30ish. It was quick. It might have even been earlier. It honestly probably was earlier because it was quick. Learned the script, rehearsed it a couple of times with some of the agents, and they threw out some like rejections and stuff like that. And then I was on the phones shortly after that.
I think the plan was you were leaving 4:30, whatever time it was.
Yeah.
And then we were getting pretty close. I remember myself and Lee were sitting next to you, and we're like, dude, I think we may have to go into OT here if you don't set this appointment because we weren't going to let you leave day one.
I had to set an appointment the first day. That was the goal.
I didn't know that. That's great. That's
so within 5 minutes of the shift ending, Lee was coaching, hey, why don't you call this one? Why don't you call this one? You ended up setting your first appointment.
Yeah.
He was so excited.
I was so excited after that. That was a good feeling.
On any given day, and now I'm going to get back to why you're thinking about real estate as a 17-year-old. There's a lot of changes in the industry. I'm very curious about that. But as you come in here every day and you're setting appointments, I see you leading with like this curiosity that is something that we try to train on all the time. Like, hey, be curious about people's situation, ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Go a couple layers deep of why they're interested in viewing a certain property 6 months ago and they're still interested in real estate now. Are you leading with curiosity because it's something that you've seen from your dad over the years? Is it natural? Why are you so curious? Because it's been helping you set appointments over the phone.
Yeah. So like, I feel like I do that with most conversations that I have with like adults or people like that is I always lead with curiosity because it makes people like feel heard, like that you care. So I feel like if I do that over the phone, and I've learned that from my dad too, like making people feel like you care, which I obviously do care. So like when I'm on the phone
Helps
and
when you do
like
care.
Yeah, I was gonna say
exactly.
that almost could be taken out. One
Yeah.
of my competitors
No.
is gonna use that.
No, exactly.
I'm
but
messing with
but
you,
like
man.
when I'm like calling, like they seem like when I sound like I care, like I'm curious about their situation, what's going on. I feel like they're more likely to like kind of side with you, or just it makes you more likable.
100. And what you said, people want to feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to solve somebody's problem, how do you solve it unless you know what the problem is?
No, exactly.
So I see you in there, and then after that first day, you're coming back, and you're setting two. Today we're recording this at 1:30 p.m. So you've been here since 8.
Yeah.
How many appointments you got today?
I got 4 appointments today.
These are appointments. I want everybody to listen and understand this. This is a 17-year-old guy setting appointments on behalf
Doesn't
of
sound like a grown man.
doesn't sound like a grown man, on behalf of licensed agents. And are you getting leads that are brand new, fresh out of the package, great leads dropping in your lap, or are you fishing out of what we call the pond, old, dead, beat up leads?
Yeah, I've been fishing out of the pond all day. Some of these leads have been in there for like 6 months, 7 months.
God, it just pushes, man. So like people are always like, what's the best way? Like, should I start creating business? And I'm like, go to a team who's not following up with their leads. Tell them you just need to practice the scripts you've been learning in Jared James' program, whatever. Start calling them. Tell them you'll give 10% of anything you book. Those people are finally ready, And what was so cool about him when he first started, he was so excited. Like and he loved it. And I just kept saying, like, Bud, like, do you have any, like, what about the rejection? It was almost like I was introducing it to him. He didn't care. He was just like, rejection. I don't even know these people.
Right.
Like I don't even. And so
He's not taking it personally.
No,
I
and
don't
so
take
we
it
had this
personal at all.
conversation. We're sitting on my dock, right? And all of a sudden a call came in. He grabs it and he starts like he's bringing out the computer and he's doing it after hours on the dock. And he's like, I got to get back to this person. I got to whatever. And we have this conversation and I started running down with him the numbers. And he's booked 4 appointments today. The last one was for a $1.5 million property. Now,
yeah, guys, $1.5 million, and that was that's a Google PPC lead.
Yeah,
that makes me smile when it's not a Z or an R in front
yeah,
of
I heard
Google
you say that.
PPC.
I heard you say that.
We're investing in those campaigns.
Yeah.
So that's
money.
good deal.
But so we're on that dock and we're talking and we're going to get into, like you said, why he wants to get into this, why, whatever, because it's not something that's getting forced on him. Like I'm all like, hey, what's going to make you happy? Let's figure it out, whatever. And I'm running through his days and his weeks, and I'm like, all right, how many? And it seemed like each day he was averaging around 2 to 4 appointments a day. And I broke it down for him, and I'm like, Bud, I need you to understand something. If you were working for yourself right now, like when you're an agent, and we broke down the number of appointments that he's set in the amount of time he had been there, and we broke it down on average if you did that 3 days a week. So if you took half a day each day and 3 days a week just did what you're doing now, but we're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
And you only
your
closed
business.
half of them. I'm like, you'll be an 18-year-old kid that does GCI over $1 million.
Yeah.
Do the math on that. Because you divorced yourself from the idea of getting rejected. You didn't care. You didn't whatever. And it was so cool because then, he had some success early on. And then a few days in, he was like struggling. It was like mid-morning. And he's like, I've made the most calls, but I'm just not booking appointments yet. And I should show these screenshots of us going back and forth. It's like all of a sudden you're coaching your kid and you're telling them all the things you've told people forever. And it's like, buddy, the result, the result is not what matters. You need to marry yourself to the process. The result is going to come. How many calls have you made? You can control that. You can't control how many are converting, but like, keep calling. End of the day, he's like, I just booked 3 more. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like, now you see the stuff that you're telling other people all the time, and you're seeing your son now. The light bulbs are going off, and now he's getting an opportunity as a young kid to understand the power of process.
You're seeing a 17-year-old commit to a process and have incredible results. I want to ask you about that psychology because you work with so many agents. You've worked with agents for years, getting them to be able to take that next step and commit to a process.
Yeah.
The psychology around this, I'm curious what your thoughts are. So why is he willing to handle objection, push forward, commit to this thing? Is it the fact that he does have he's a high school guy, right?
Yeah.
He lives at home. He's not paying the mortgage. He's not paying these types of things.
Sure.
If he goes home at night, he's gonna have a safe place to live.
Right.
Is it the security that he has where it's like, man, whether they need my help right now or not, I can just move on to the next one? Is it that? Is it the competitive nature that he has, being an athlete? Being somebody who's been a real top performer in athletics? Is it what you're talking about, being acceptive of coaching and the process and committing to that and moving forward, like, why is he so willing to hear an objection, not get disgruntled, and not quit on it? Because a lot of agents are like, I'm not having the success. I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm going to wait for the business to come to me. And then they get into that roller coaster situation where the business is going up and down. And you pointed it out. If he stayed consistent, we're talking about a massive business.
Yeah, when your goal is the number of calls, you can't lose because you can control that, you know? And so that's been beat into his head over and over and over and over again. And at the end of the day, here's what it comes down to. It's a great question, and there's so many places I could go with that. I love what you sent me after day one. You were like, this kid's a dog. And you said, you know, and so, you know, we're on vacation last week, and he's asking me all about my net worth. And he's like, what's your net worth?
Trying
What's
to get on that will?
What's that? No, that's not why. He's like, because he's trying to figure out how to make sure he does more.
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, that's really great. So I need to do this then. Well, then I need to be here. Well, then I need to be, you know, and there's like this healthy competitiveness of like, you know, it's not about, you know, there's always been this school of thought. It's like, can you come from success and then be successful? Or do you need to come from failure and be successful? And it's such an unfair argument. And I always believed it my whole life. I'm like, no, you got to come from struggle. Otherwise, you don't, you know, you're not going to be hungry.
Because that was your story or whatever.
Yeah, and what we do is we pinpoint and we pick these people out of struggle and go, look at them. Look at Jay-Z. And we don't think about every other letter of the alphabet who lived around him, who all of them failed. So they came from struggle. Why didn't they? And then we go and pick someone who came from success, and we go, little drug addict living off their dad's money. And we don't pick all these other people who did well. And so we begin with the end in mind, and we're like, we already know what we believe. And what I've learned over this time, because it was always a fear of mine, was like, okay, how do you give them more than you had, which was the whole reason you worked so hard, but how do you keep them hungry, you know? And you get to a point where you start to realize, man, some of that is just, he's my offspring. Like, there was nothing you could have done to me growing up that would have made me not hungry. I'm still hungry, and I have. So why would I, you know, like, it's just that's in you. And so, you know, this kid right here, you know, he is competitive. He is competing with his father, but he has a hunger to succeed. Like he's already like, I want to get my license when I'm 18. Why would I waste all those years? Like, let's go. And for him, it's not just real estate. We'll get into this. You know, he looks at it and he's like, I'm going to kill it in real estate and then decide which way I want to go because I'm going to come from a position of strength. Yeah. You know, now I'm going to be financially secure. I'm going to learn so much about dealing with, and he understands that, and we'll get into this a little bit later too, but he understands that no matter what industry you're in, it's people. Yeah. You know, I was talking to my insurance guy yesterday, who's the dad of one of his teammates on soccer. And I said to him, I got to be honest, man, I don't know if you're a good insurance agent or a bad one. I get a thing all the time from other places I can save money. I don't ever look because you're my insurance guy. And like that is the underplayed thing that we don't think about is that we get into all of these scripts and dialogues, which are obviously important. But sometimes with all the new apps and everything else, we lose sight of the fact that it's just likability and enthusiasm. Absolutely. When you say, oh, he's jumping in, he's learning scripts, and he's setting appointments his first day, I promise you it wasn't because he was great at the scripts, because he was scared to death. Yeah. But he's enthusiastic because for him, every call is an opportunity for him to build his future. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's just like, okay, I'm doing another. Enthusiasm is just contagious, you know? But
well, the most natural response he has is like a response to everybody. Well, what makes you say that? Why would you want to do that? He just doesn't know where they're coming from. So he just asks the question why, get them to talk more. That creates like ability.
By the way, if you watch him talk to an adult in real life, like in real life, we've always said this about him.
He does the same thing.
He doesn't do like a kid does, like a good, respectful kid. They're like, how you doing? I'm good. And they smile and they do whatever. Grayson, you know, again, this is my offspring here. Like he goes and he starts going like, how was your day? You know, why do you do that? Oh, okay, that's awesome. Oh my God, that must be so cool. It must
very
be
curious.
And starts like going in and like I tell him this all the time. We can learn all of the skill sets and learn all the stuff. But man, that right there, you can't teach that. That right there is like, that's winning 101, you know? And so we may not talk about that stuff at conferences because it's like, how do you tell someone to be a different person?
Right. That's instilled in him. How do you train on that necessarily? Yeah. So, and I agree with the hunger part of it. I mean, that's what drove me certainly for the first 5 years, and I still today, but a real hunger after how I started in real estate and where I had to go to get to where I am today. Grayson, you're going to hear though, so I want to hear why you're getting into real estate because this is people probably commenting even on this pod are going to say, well, his dad's in real estate. That's why he wants to get into real estate. I don't know if you followed the LeBron James Bronny story recently.
I have, yeah.
And so a lot of people are beating up on Bronny. Oh, there's nepotism. You know, that I don't know if you had to look up that word. I had to look it up.
I'm about to say, you might want to look that up for him.
I had to look it up when, you know, they were throwing that out there on all these different sports podcasts. You know, nepotism's not right. He shouldn't have this position.
Yeah.
All these kind of things. So you probably know that you're going to get a little of that coming into real estate. This is a jump off point for you. You want to do some bigger things and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But coming into real estate, some people are going to say, well, he's just doing it because of his dad. Why do you want to get into real estate?
So I'm not going to sit here and say that my dad doesn't play a huge role in that. Like, he does for sure. Like, I've been around it my entire life. Like, I've seen my dad, like, even when I was younger, I used to go to, like, listing appointments with him. I used to go to showings with him, like, all that sort of stuff. So I kind of, like, it was just always around me. And then, like, as, like, I've been growing up, like, I've seen, like, a lot of other people doing it, like, whether it's, like, some of his friends, like, when they would come over to the house, I would just have conversations with them. And I would see these super, super successful people, and I would just always, like, find myself being like, oh, like, I want to be like them one day. Or, like, I want to be like my dad one day, and stuff like that. And, like, I've seen how people have done in this industry. And even just, like, random things that come on my, like, social media, or, like, just, like, other people that I've talked to just randomly, like, talking about, like, real estate and stuff like that. And it's just always, like, been very interesting to me, like, how the whole market works, how, like, everything happens. And, like, I don't know, just something, like, about that just really makes you want to get into it when I'm older. And, like, I don't know, like, I want that to be what I do.
You're going into your last year of high school. So you're gonna have to make a decision that a lot of young people have to make, which is, do I go and you know, you're probably getting pushed into, you know, thinking about college.
Yeah.
You know, you're a smart kid. You get good grades, right, Jared? Good grades?
No, you're great.
Good grades.
You got accepted to, what's it called? The thing where you got to be a good kid to get into it?
The Honor Society?
Honors?
Was it like a thing where you help peer?
Oh, peer counseling.
He just got accepted into peer counseling and all that stuff. Yeah, he's a good kid.
So we've got a real smart kid. He's an athlete. He's going to have a lot of opportunity to go to college. And then you're really coming at this from a mindset of like, I want to be in business. I want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And entrepreneur land and college land don't necessarily see eye to eye on, you know, success. There's a lot of people that go to university and college that are incredibly successful in business, and there's a lot of people that are incredibly successful in business that didn't go to college. Where are you at right now, a year away from having to make a firm decision on what the next step is, and what goes into making that decision for you, knowing down the road you want to be in business?
So it's a very, like, complicated thing right now. He's laughing because he knows the conversations that go on behind the scenes, where it's like, my mom's side of the family is very old-fashioned and stuff like that, where it's like, you go to college, like, that's what you do.
And most of the teachers at your school probably have the same mindset.
Through the whole school system,
so
like,
it's not,
like, it's all about what college you're going to. Oh, let's start the college process. It's never like, is college the best path for you? So, like, with me, with what I want to do, I don't really want to go. Like, there's obviously reasons, like, the, like, social aspect of college and all that, but another part of me is just, like, I want to get started at, like, what I want to do, and I feel like I'd get a lot further ahead by doing that. Like, the way that I look at college, I feel like it's just gonna, like, push me back and, like, delay my life a bit. I'm not, like, the type of kid that's a big partier and stuff like that, so, like, that aspect of college doesn't play a huge role for me, and I feel like what I'm gonna learn in college and spend all that money for, I could learn the same, if not better, out doing things. So I'm kind of leaning towards more not going to college, but it's a really complicated thing right now.
What's your take on college versus non-college?
I mean, I think you know my take. It's, you know, look, I mean.
Well, he's probably going to get, would you get scholarship for
I don't
soccer?
Know that he
I don't know
that
he
wants to keep playing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
You'd have to, that'd be a full-time job.
That's what I look at.
That's exactly
it,
man.
Yeah.
So look.
I remember somebody I went to school with, Bo Gear, he got a full ride to University of New Hampshire to play football.
Yeah.
And after his first year, I remember him saying, if I wasn't getting the money to go to college, I'd stop playing. It's a full-time job. It's crazy. He goes to meetings, the commitment that I have to make to football. And he wasn't interested in that level of commitment. He enjoyed it in high school, enjoyed it in growing up. But at that point in his life, he was like, I'm only doing it now because of the scholarship.
And if you're not going to the NFL, it's like, you know, look, when it comes to soccer, man, I mean, you're not just pulling from here. In fact, every college is kids from all over the world. Like, it's a different thing. So if you're not going to go play alongside Messi in the Premier, like, what, it's probably not going to happen, right? And so, look, I am very much somebody who has, like, my this is going to be a weird example, but it's like rearing a dog. Okay, when dogs are little, the more disciplined you are with them, the better they are when they get older. And you don't have to tell them stuff anymore. There's no more don't eat that, don't pee in here, don't whatever. If you're tough on them when they're little, you don't got to say that anymore. You got a good dog. And if you're not, you got a bad dog, right? So let's transition that to my son.
Okay. Compare me to a dog.
I also,
Nice.
in fairness, I love our dog.
You kind of have
yeah.
Eric the
You
broke
love me?
agent. His
Yeah.
dog has
Yeah.
curls too, natural curls.
Well, our dog
okay.
and him. If you
Yeah.
put our dog up next, you don't know where
Yeah.
our dog ends and he begins. Just so you
true.
know, it's
right.
and that's the backside of the dog. No, so because,
All right.
so
So when I'm around the
yeah,
house one day,
here
you'll
we
have
go.
another me, I
This
guess.
is exactly what he's afraid of. Yeah.
This is very much in style. This haircut. You got
I
it
like it,
natural.
man. I like
do
it. You know what's
natural.
funny? He
Yeah.
always hated his hair, and now it is the style.
It is.
Yeah.
People are like, "Did you get a perm?" And he's like, "No, like this is you know." So, anyways, here's my point: is that I was very much as a parent when my kids were younger. I was very, and I'm still about little things. Very like I'm almost like a military guy who wasn't in the military. But when they were younger, I'm that guy. I'm rearing them when they're young, and I'm doing just like this is what we do. This is no, and I'm very strict. And I think at times it would also bother him because he was the older kid, and so I was very tough on him. But now when you look at that pyramid flipping upside down now, as he gets older and as his brother get older, I don't believe you have to. I believe he now needs to learn to make decisions. I've done the hard, it doesn't mean I don't step in as his dad. It doesn't mean that. But it means that they hit a point where, they start to decide more and you start to decide less. And I don't have to agree with every decision he makes. I don't believe in that. I don't need to control him. I don't have to agree with everything he does because I've done the work already. Now he needs to, if I want him to be a successful adult, he needs to now make decisions, even when I know they're wrong. Even if I disagree and I tell him, but he still moves forward, then he needs to face the consequence. And that's part of learning. That's how you create a successful adult. You don't control everything they do and then throw them out in the wild. You don't take a zoo animal and then put them out in the safari. They're going to get eaten because they don't, everything's been controlled. Everything's been. So when you talk about college, I have told him over and over again, if you want to go for the social, if you want to go because you want to play soccer, if you want to go for one of those reasons, awesome. I don't have to agree. I don't think a personality like him, college is going to benefit him because he's like me, okay?
And you've known him 17 years, so you know.
I know what he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be in sales, entrepreneur. You don't learn that in college. Look, if you're going to be an engineer, if you're going to be a doctor, if you're going to be awesome. Sales, entrepreneur, waste of time and money. Unless you're there for the social aspect, that stuff.
That CRM you're down on every single day, that's what you would be building at school. I want to get every name, every contact
That's
information
it.
at
That's
school in some type of CRM so that I have these relationships for life.
Yeah, that's it, right? And so for me, what I've said to him is, if you want to go for one of those reasons, I'll support you. I'm not going to control you. What you want to do is what you want to do. If you think you're going there because it's gonna enhance your career, well then I'm like, wait a second now, because this is a scam. Like this is not your grandparents' economy. Like this is a different world now. That is a waste of time and money, where you're gonna go get indoctrinated, and we're gonna spend a crap ton of money where the return is not there. And I've said this before, there's something wrong when the government will give you all this money when you don't even know what you want to do with your life and you can't get rid of it even in bankruptcy. But if I went for a business loan, they'd ask me all sorts of questions, want a business plan, and turn me down. Something's a coup. Something's wrong here, And so people are like, oh, you're just down. No, I'm just realistic. Like, I don't come from a perspective where I've been brainwashed. And, if you actually have that conversation with someone, they just start going, no, that's what it is. It's like, okay, well now, yeah, because there's nothing to argue on here. Like this is a coup. This isn't real.
I made the point in a training recently. Ashley from BAM was doing the video, and I said, Ashley, do you remember ever giving me a resume? She's a UConn grad. Do you ever remember giving me a resume to work here? She's like, I don't know. Maybe I did. I said, either you did and I didn't look at it, or we didn't ask for one. We asked you to do some work ahead of time. The only reason you got the job or the opportunity for the job is because you knew Haley, she vouched for you, and then we want to see if you could do the work.
That's it.
Do you remember when we were discussing, hey, coming on for the internship, what was the most important thing to me in that process of making sure, hey, I want to bring Grayson on to the team for the summer? When we had a little discussion on Zoom, and then we had a couple other things we did. What was the most important thing to me during that process? Certainly wasn't your resume. I mean, you were high school. So
Yeah.
what was most important to
Junk
me?
plugger.
I feel like the most important thing to you is
Or what
like,
do you think was most important to me when I was asking you to some questions to do certain things before we committed?
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of it, like before like I started working, a lot of it was like me talking. Like you asked me to take a video and like send you some things.
It.
Yeah.
We had a conversation on Zoom, and this is something you can do with anybody you're interviewing, right? We have a conversation on Zoom. I'm getting to know Jared, your father's told me a lot about you at that point. And then I said, hey, we're going to be sending you some information over email. Need you to read that email, and that's going to have some details about how to move forward. And in that email was, need you to text me a video about,
there was 3 questions.
It was 3 questions, what was some adversity you faced? How'd you get through it? These types of questions to kind of look a little bit deeper inside. But the answers to questions were, at that point, almost irrelevant. It was, can he read the email and text me the video, not reply back to the email with the video.
Yeah.
The email specifically said, text me the video. Can Grayson follow directions? Because if he simply can't follow that direction, do I really want him hanging around all summer? That's right.
Yeah.
And so that was what was most important to me, not what a resume says or anything like that. We do that with everybody that we hire. It's like, where are you on your skill set? 'Cause we can improve on that. Where are you currently? We need to have an understanding on that. And can you follow directions?
Yeah.
That was actually a scary part for me, was when you sent that to him, is because the kids today, we think they're so technological, but the truth is he doesn't know email.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't
So I'm
use
like,
email.
do you understand in our industry, people email and stuff, and he's asking me questions like, like at one point I forwarded something to him. He's like, is Byron going to see that? Like he sounded like an old lady who, was her fax number got me. I'm like, but that's not how it works, But like email, they don't understand email.
Yeah.
They understand text, which is
Or
really
DM.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. And so like I literally, one of my biggest fears with him was, and then you're going to be using, was it Follow Up Boss or whatever, and Passanelli, like my brother, like, whatever, he's over there and I'm like, oh God, he's never worked with a CRM. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, he's a smart kid, he's whatever. But like when we say they're technologically savvy, that part is not of this generation's world. And I think sometimes we forget that in real estate. We all still use this stuff, but this next generation coming up, they don't email.
How is you're on Follow Up Boss? It's the CRM we use here. It was easy to understand.
It was very easy to understand. At first, I was like kind of nervous, like because I didn't know how. But then the second I started using it, it like all clicked.
There you go, Steve. Cut that out. Run that a million times over there.
There you go. He did know. He loves it. He shows it to me. He's like, look at this. Even when I just came in to get him, he's like, look at this. I put this here. I do whatever. And it's, again, you go back to our industry and you look at agents in our industry, and he's going to try to come to the Advance. You'll be at the Advance, and if he does, I'm going to have
September 19th, 20th?
September 19th and 20th. Yeah. I'm going to try to have him up there, and you're going to be looking at a crowd full of professionals who are afraid to make calls. Here's a freaking 17-year-old who sounds like a kid.
You should have him go up and show off his skill.
Sounds like a kid, and he's booking appointments every single day. Here, using a CRM. Here's a 17-year-old kid that while you guys are going, I can't understand, I don't know, whatever. Here's a 17-year-old kid who's never looked at this in his life, has never seen an organized system like this in his life, has never whatever, looks at it and, yeah, that makes sense. Got it.
We can pull his numbers by the time he's done with this internship so that in Orlando at Jared's Advance in September, you can actually put the numbers of how many appointments he's set up, and you get all that data.
More importantly, what I really want to show is I want to show the calls every day.
Yeah.
Because he literally, I got him to a point where he was starting to, we were really excited. Look, he texts me every time he books an appointment. He texts me every time. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's awesome. That's what you should do. He's excited. He's whatever. But more importantly, he also sends me, and we get excited about, he's like, I'm going to out-call these people.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, there's been 350 calls today. I'm 200 of them.
Who are you most focused on out calling?
Honestly, probably Lee.
Lee?
Yeah.
Because he talks too much smack, or
he does talk a lot. But honestly, my biggest competition isn't even in the ISA department. Jeremy's my biggest competition. We go back and forth all day.
Because Jeremy's in college. That's the place that you might end up.
Yeah. So we always have competitions of whoever sets more appointments and stuff like that.
There's two things I want to ask you about. Like, are you surprised by some of the conversations that happen in a real estate office? I want to get to that. you said Lee talks a lot. That is hilarious. He does talk a lot of smack.
He said he has to learn to drink more. He said people in real estate offices drink more than I thought. And I said, welcome to the industry.
Yeah, welcome to this. Don't.
I said, welcome to the industry.
Don't take that as a cue. Listen, if you can stay away from it, you're going to be better off. By the way, but
plus, if you want to keep abs.
That's true.
Yeah, you got to keep those abs.
Yeah, I do.
Those are going to go away at some point, but keep them as long as you can.
Trying to keep them through at least 40.
So you've gotten a taste. You're over halfway through the internship. You thought, hey, I want to get into real estate. You were saying, Jared was saying, one of you guys was saying, you're going to get your license at 18.
Yeah.
You're going to have it in November. I think you're going to be 18.
January.
January going to be 18. So November you start class, whatever the case is. You're going to have that license day one, and you're going to start working this business. Now that you have some experience, do you have more hunger to do that, or you're like, maybe I'm reconsidering here? Because there's a lot of change in this industry going on, as you know.
Yeah. Like throughout this whole thing, I honestly think I want it more. Like after seeing how it all works, after seeing all the agents and stuff like that, because it kind of like it shows me like what it takes and like what you have to do to be successful in this industry as an agent. And like I think that I'm like fully capable of doing that. So it makes me like more like excited and more hungry to actually get it done.
What are you surprised about? Is there conversations in the office you're surprised about? Is there certain things that you thought were one way about a real estate agent or a real estate office that are and this isn't really your typical real estate office, usually cubicles and that kind of thing. But are there certain things that surprise you? You thought it'd be one way and it's the other way.
So what surprised me like here is like how much of like a team like it actually is, like how all the agents kind of work together. Like I don't know why, but the way I always kind of pictured in my head, like even like the agents on the same brokerage would be like kind of a competition with each other. And like I'm sure there's like I'm sure there's like some friendly competition still going, but like everyone like gets along, like they all work together, and like I feel like everyone kind of builds each other up to succeed.
Yeah, that would probably be unique if you step into there's some offices where
that's absolutely a thing.
That's absolutely a thing. I'm trying to like sugarcoat it, but that's a thing.
No, that's an absolute thing. Go back to the original question. Tell them what you. So when you said, do you still want to be in real estate?
Yeah, do you still want to be in, and why?
But here's an interesting point. Was that he's coming to me, and it's not a matter of do I still want to. Like he comes back and he talks to me, and he's hungrier than ever. It literally fueled his hunger. Where he's just like, oh, now I see it. He's like, I can do this, and then he starts saying to me, Dad, wait a second. What if I sold, Byron lives in Naples. Maybe he wants to open a team in Naples. What if I went to Naples? Or what if I went to California? Or what if I went to Arizona? Or what if I went to, he goes, if I'm doing this and I'm doing it exactly like I'm doing it just like I'm here, but I have a higher price point. Like, why wouldn't I just go do that and start banking money and living poor, but just like keep on? And I'm like, dude, the world is your oyster. Like whatever, like you make those decisions.
And literally the CRM you're on right now, you talk about how the biggest team in San Diego is on this. Like, so can you do the things? It doesn't matter what CRM you're on. I don't want to confuse you there. CRMs are you got to have one and use one and all that kind of thing. But the point is, what you're doing here is transferable anywhere.
Yeah,
connecting with people, making calls, creating these relationships, and all of that. What do you think when you get your license? Let me ask you this. What's going to be your long-term goal? You're going to get your license when you're 18.
Yeah.
You're going to make the decision about college or jumping into sales. Where do you want to take this?
Me and my dad actually having a conversation about this last week, like this exact conversation.
Just so you know, you could have done this pod any week, and he would have said that same thing. Me and my dad were talking about this last week.
Yeah,
because
that is true.
We're talking all the time.
It's a constant conversation of like, he's like, Dad, what do you think? And he just starts picking your brain.
Yeah.
Curiosity. He does it with me too. What if I did this? What if I did this?
But literally last week, me and my dad were on the beach talking about this. But like, because he asked me, like, where do you want to go, like, after you get your license? Like, do you just want to be an agent, or do you want to, like, do something else? So the way I thought about it is, like, I definitely am going to become an agent and see how I do with that. And then I think eventually, like, I see how you're doing, like, owning a brokerage and stuff. And, like, I see how you're doing, like, how you're an agent. Like, now you run a coaching thing and stuff like that. So
just a little coaching thing.
Yeah, just a little
coaching thing. Yeah, he's just,
just a little something.
God love your kids.
No, but I'm saying, like, the way how you branched off of an agent and made it something bigger. So I 100% picture myself doing something like that, like being an agent for a while, whether it's opening a brokerage or doing something like my dad's doing, like something in that realm.
Right now, at this point, it's going to change over time. What interests you more? It could be a combination of both, but is it building a business inside an agent business, sales business?
Yeah.
Is it doing a keynote and becoming a well-known keynote speaker in the industry and having agents that you're coaching and training, writing a book, maybe a book that sells more copies than your dad.
Yeah.
What's more enticing to you?
Can't wait to go back and listen to this and
The
go
thing
back
is,
and watch this 20
like,
years
I don't
from now.
100% know like what I want to do after I'm an agent. I just know that I want to do something in the real estate industry and like make it something bigger than just the agent side. Like I do want to do like speaking and stuff like that, but obviously right now I have nothing to speak about. Like I have no clue
That's the
where
key.
like my life is going to take me at the time, and I need to see where I'm at like at that point.
I think you do have something to say. That's why I have you on the pod. And let me know in the comments if you agree with that. If you're learning, even I think we can all learn from a 17-year-old. I did a 5 a.m. call, a 17-year-old who's showing up and is committed and hungry and all that kind of stuff. But I did a 5 a.m. call where I encouraged others to go out and get an intern. I said, here's something that having an intern in your environment, in your space does for you, is it makes the people that you've got him working with or her working with have to articulate what they do every day.
Yeah.
You know, Lee and Ben, who you're working with, you're sitting there making appointments. That's their job. You know, they're getting compensated more than you are on minimum wage to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're outpacing them, or while they're training you, if they can't articulate what they do, then if you can't even articulate what you do, why do I have you here? So
Yeah.
when you have an intern there during the summer, it's not about what am I going to get out of that intern? What is everybody else going to get? What are they going to gain by sharpening the pencil?
Yeah.
And making sure they're sharp for the intern.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you know what's really cool is when you say that, I think of a lot of different things when you say to him, where do you want to go? Because let's face it, it doesn't matter what he says now. You know,
It's going to change.
It doesn't. Who knows? That's like asking a college kid, what do you want to major in?
That's right.
Political science. Okay, let's just go throw money away. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like he doesn't know. You only know what you see. You don't always see around the corner, right? But that's why I called it a position of strength. You want to put yourself in a position of strength so that when that time comes, you're able to step into what you're supposed to step into. But one of the real advantages he's had, you know, he said to me probably last week, but we've talked about it before. He's like, I would love to do something with you. Like, I would love to, like, you know, do something within your organization, whatever. And my response is always, awesome. That can't just happen because you're my son. Like, there are obvious advantages there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you don't have a success pattern to point to, if you're just up there reading motivational quotes, you know, you gotta think big and then think bigger, you know, whatever. And it's like, awesome. What have you done? You know, other than be born? Like, what have you done? Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to almost like disassociate yourself from me in the sense of like, you need to go build a background so powerful that nobody can ignore it, you know? And then when you come in, you are the 17-year-old that was setting appointments and doing, you were now the salesperson who was #1 in this and doing, you need to go make that your legacy right now. And then mine will enhance. But if you don't do that, mine will make yours smaller, you know? And so the other thing that he's had going for him, because we've had those convos, but the other thing, you know, that is an advantage, we can't act like it's not an advantage, is the people he gets to be around. Like, you know, we're at my wedding a few months ago, and he's sitting in the pool while they're having drinks, talking to tech CEOs that have sold their companies for hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, and they love him, and they're just like, you know, they come over and they're like, just like you, like, the kid's a dog, like that kid's gonna, you know, whatever, but they're giving him these insights. And you know he's with CEOs of major brands, and he's just hanging with them like just a normal whatever. But man, is it such an advantage because it just takes his mentality and just goes, these are normal people, and look at what they're doing. And so now it's almost like raising a daughter and loving her, and raising a daughter and showing her no attention. What she thinks is acceptable in the man that she chooses is going to be so different when you love her compared to when you don't show her any attention. And for a boy who sees what's possible in these people he deems to be normal, he just hangs out with them and sees them like they're every day. That's dad's friend. His expectation of what is possible for him, once he combines that with whatever success he's going to create on his own, is magic. Yeah. You know, it's dynamite if he takes advantage of that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when you said to me, when we were talking about Grayson, I wasn't even thinking internship this summer. I'm so busy right now. And we've done internships most of the summers, and that's how actually we found Haley from the BAM team, right? And so there's a huge value to doing internships. But this is what you're saying right now. This is how things fall into place. These connections, these relationships. It's actually very authentic that you're bringing it up in the way that you're bringing it up, because I brought up Bronny James and LeBron James earlier, and they're kind of playing the card like, no, we had no role, and Bronny ending up on the Lakers.
He's drafted after averaging 4 points a game.
And you're just like, man, no, these relationships are powerful.
Yes.
These connections in the industry are powerful. And by the way, it's going to be up to you to take advantage of those relationships. Just because you have a relationship doesn't mean you're going to be given anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Like I said, if you couldn't follow a simple email direction, you probably wouldn't even have made it here for the summer. I would have said, Jared, hey, I wanted to do an internship. I'm just not going to do it. No big deal.
It's
right?
not going to work out, yeah.
And you'd have to, restart somewhere else. When you take advantage of them and you build upon them, create that story that Jared's talking about, now you're going to look back on all these experiences, be able to pull from them, be able to add value to a lot of people in a lot of different places. What's going to be your balance as he's going to decide what he wants to do next? Yeah. What's going to be your balance between if he's in real estate?
Yeah.
Between that coach hat now, and the father hat.
Yeah.
You've had to deal with it probably in sports. Is it going to be different when he's actually in your world, the business world?
I think we have an unfair advantage here. And what I mean by that, I don't want to make his head too big, but the unfair advantage is him in the sense that he's not a normal kid. Like, he's not the kid that's like, oh, dad, whatever. Like, he values it.
He accepts coaching.
He wants to talk to you. Like, he literally wants to talk. He wants to know. He said to me the other day, he was leaving me to go with his girlfriend or something for dinner. And I'm like, all right, Dad, I just built a bar in the backyard. And I'm like, Dad'll hang here by himself, whatever. And he goes, I like hanging out with you. Like, he's like, he wasn't accepting it, right? And so my point is that I don't actually, where I think that would be a major issue with most people, I don't have that issue with him. Like, I think we kind of know when to be dad and when to like jump in with coaching because he asks for it, Like, he'll show me the scripted, he'll show me what somebody's saying. He'll show me whatever. And he's like, what do you think? Or what would you do here? Or what would you, whatever. And I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and it's okay to be honest. Yeah. I don't think that we've like overstepped the lines of like, he's like, Dad, whatever. I got it. Like, I don't think we've done that. And I really do think, and I do, I wish I could take more credit for this, but I honestly think that he's the unique advantage here because he wants it. He recognizes what he has. He recognizes the people he's surrounded by. And he's the kid that when I say he's in the pool talking to these people that most people can't get an appointment with through their assistant, and he's just chilling, he does that on purpose. He couldn't wait for the wedding to go hang out with these people, and he's just sitting next to him and talking to him and, and just, whatever. Like, he gets it, He's like, oh, I've got an advantage here. Like, this is great, That's kind of my feeling on it. And again, my son is here, so he can whatever, but that's kind of my feeling on it.
Yeah, no, it's completely true.
Did you tell your dad, you asked me at some point during the internship, you asked me, hey, can I... my dad's not going to want me to ask you this.
Oh, boy.
But did you tell him that?
I don't think I did.
Did you ask him for a used pair of underwear as well, like my last friend? Are you kidding me? I thought we talked about this. So
Grayson had something going on very important to him, and he said, hey, I don't want to ask, but my dad would kill me if he even knew I was asking.
Oh, God. What is it?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I want to hear you say it first.
When you want to adjust the schedule, you want to take a day off?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I did talk to him about that.
You did? He's like, hey, I got something important. My cousins want to do something. I'm like,
oh,
yeah.
He's like, how about I work an extra day or an extra hour?
So shall we get into this? Because that was actually a great learning experience.
Okay.
Do you want the real story?
I want the real story, yeah.
You want the real story?
We can do the real story.
He's been very committed. He asked for an adjustment on schedule because I asked him ahead of time what's going to be the vacations, what's going to be the deal here for the summer, so I knew, and then he had
just a great example
but
of what I was talking about.
He was nervous about even asking me.
Oh,
he's like,
100.
He's like, if my dad knew, he'd be all over me about it.
Just so you know,
if I called out sick, my dad would be like mad.
I'd be pissed. I'd be
a little mad too.
No, but like, look, you have an opportunity here. You're only here a certain number of days. Show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, don't be that kid that now they regret bringing in a 17-year-old. And I even said to him too, we're talking about the appointments and everything. I'm like, let's be honest here. Yes, you have this internship because Byron and I are friends. Absolutely. But so help me God, if you're there for the summer and you cost him more than what you make him, you go set appointments, you go make him the best decision he ever made about an internship, make him money while you're there, be more valuable. So the opportunity is the knowing of the person. That's the opportunity, right? But then, like I said, you got to take advantage of it. Once you get that opportunity, no one's going to hand you things or whatever. You have to now grab hold of that thing and be the best. You got to be better than normal because you're expected to be,
and make deposits for the future. I'm gonna do a lot for Grayson in the future. if the opportunity presents itself because of the work he puts in here.
Yeah, once he gets his foot in the door, then you decide whether it's somebody you're going to long term, like whether it was like, hey, that was nice, thank you so much, and you and I go, thanks for having my son there, and whatever, if I can ever return, and we say that, or it becomes an asset, Yeah. And so here's how that really went down. Okay, here's the real deal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
It was a good learning moment.
So he sent me a thing and he started. Remember how I told you that you rear them for a little bit, but we get to a point where outside of something that's life or death, I don't tell him anymore what he can and can't do. I give him my opinion and I'm like, bud, here's, whatever. And there are times when he still goes and whatever. He just took $100 out to start doing day trading. And I'm like, great. You just went, because he's big into stocks and, whatever. And I'm like, great. You just went from marijuana to crack. I'm telling you, it's dumb. Okay. And he's still going to do it. Dummy. He's going to lose $100, and I'll be happy when he does. He's got to learn. But I didn't tell him. If I told him no, he'd be like, okay.
Go roaring kitty on his ass and just turn it into like 100.
You know what I said to him?
That's what's going on in my head right now. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. That's the expectation.
I said after taxes, that's 11 hours worth of work. Yeah. You work for 11 hours for nothing to go day trade like an idiot. This is how you talk to your son. So anyway,
that was the conversation.
Yeah, literally,
word
idiotic.
for word.
Yeah. So anyway, so when this whole thing came up about he had the thing with his cousins or whatever, he brings it up to me and he's like, I don't know, like, do you think whatever? And I said, are you out of your mind? No. And he's like, but they're going to be, whatever, it's my summer, they're going to whatever. And I said, you committed. I don't care.
I know what the peer pressure is like for a 17-year-old.
Oh,
cousins,
they were going to have
friends.
this. Yeah, and he's like, it's my summer. It's the only time we're all going off to college. We're not going to have this time together. And believe me, he's getting my whatever.
And they're peppering him.
Yeah.
They're
it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and believe me, he'll tell you, I understand. I'm empathetic. I do understand. You made a commitment. Like, it's not whatever. Keeps coming back. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if whatever? I said, okay, here's the deal. Here is the only way you're going to get an approval from me.
I did come with the idea, though, that instead of if I don't work Monday, I work Thursday instead.
Correct. He goes, what if I offer him another day? I said, not far enough. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, you offer to switch days, but you give him an hour for free because you're going to pay the price for switching. If there's any chance that does not work for him, meaning like, no, he needs you that day and not that day, you just go, no problem, I'm going to be there. Like, you're going in. But you can offer him the switch of the day, hour free. I said, you have to give up more than you're getting here because you're the one coming with it here. Like that's how this works. And so I guess I don't know what happened.
That was a great lesson. That's what he pitched me. I wrote back deal.
Yeah, that's my point.
And
we had to talk about it
deal.
afterwards. We had to talk about it afterwards, and I explained that very thing. I said it wouldn't have been enough for you to just switch the days because all you did was inconvenience him. Yeah. You're like, oh, but I'm not working this way. It doesn't matter. You also took more than you gave because you were supposed to be there tomorrow. So you need to give him something of value that is a little painful for you in order for you, and that's the only way I'm okay with it.
That's a great lesson for anyone really to keep in mind. And I think the day was after the 4th of July. It was a Monday.
After 4th of July.
And I'm looking at the deal. He's offering me Thursday. An hour. I'm saying, well, Thursday's gonna be more beneficial anyway, leading into the weekend. Monday's gonna be a dead day. Yeah, deal. We'll do that.
I did,
deal.
By the way, we had that talk, and I'm like, Byron's a deal maker. I said, offer it up to him, and if there's any reason he needs you tomorrow, like this is like inconvenient at all, and he shows you inconvenience, but says, hey, okay, that's fine. You go in tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if he's like, done deal, whatever, you're good to go.
The first thing I thought of when I saw the text was it put me back into when I was like 17. Yeah. I graduated high school at 17. We went to Cancun, 12 of us.
1971.
On a $499 all-inclusive stay. I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
Like
came with everything, including the runs.
Lost all of their money night one. It was a terrible experience. I couldn't wait to get out of there. And don't do that. But I'm just like, if I were to say no, at that age, I would absolutely want to go do this with my boys or my cousins or whatever the case may be. So
calling out wasn't an option is my point. Like we're not doing that. Like you've got
calling out.
Yeah, you've got vacations. So, you are not calling out when there's nothing wrong. You're not in your day. Look, it's one thing if you are fully sick, you're going to make other people sick. And even then I told him, then you've got your database, you can make calls, you can whatever. Yeah. Just say to him, hey, even if I only get paid half today, can I work from home and do whatever? Like,
if a 17-year-old stud athlete called me on the Monday after 4th of July weekend and said,
"That's right,
hey,
it was after 4th of July
I'm
weekend.
sick, I'm not coming in," like, people know. I would be like, all right, cool, But I know the deal.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you could get sick, but
Yeah.
likelihood of you getting sick or the likelihood of you wanting to extend the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my,
That's where the strict side of me comes in.
Yeah.
To me, that's irresponsible.
yeah.
You know, and look, do we see it all the time? I employ people. We see it all the time. But my whole thing to him and to my other son is just because we see that all the time, that's awesome. Are you trying to be average? So if you want to be average, go act like all of them. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
that's what other
Don't
people do.
but then don't come to me and ask me for advice on how to do this and how to do that and how to do this and whatever.
Yeah.
You're wasting my time. Whether you're my son or not my son, if you're going to act average, you're going to be average. Don't come to me for advice.
That was the exact phone call we had because I was on the phone with him. I was like, "What should I do?" And I was like, "People call out sick all the time." And then
Yeah.
he was like, "Do you want to be average? Do you want to be
I
like
actually
all?"
said that?
Yeah, he's like, "Do you want to?" He goes, "Do you want to be like all the other people?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, you got bigger goals.
I actually said that to
Yeah,
you.
you did.
Oh, I think he made me angry too when he called. I was just like,
Yeah, you were mad.
Are you kidding me? Like, are you like,
Yeah.
look, they'll tell you, I love my kids. Like, I'm super like
question.
lenient and like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just when I get angry at a time like that, I'm not angry at the decision. I'm angry because I so badly want them to be successful that it's just like, you're screwing it up right
Yeah.
now.
So this is a good place for us. The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up, you want both your sons to be super successful.
Yeah.
You really care deeply about
Yeah.
that. You care about agents as well.
Yeah.
Knowing all of the change that's happening in our industry.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're days away from August 17th, and there's still agents out there that don't have a clear plan to move forward with.
Most.
And things are going to change a lot.
Yep.
And you are fully supporting your son getting into real estate.
Yeah.
I think that says a few things, but I'd like to hear your perspective on that. Why are you fully supportive of Grayson coming into real estate at a time when it's going to be dramatically different than the last multiple decades?
I think because I always bet on the jockey. That's it. You know, if Grayson wanted to get into insurance, I would support him. If Grayson wanted to get into, so the fact that he wants to get into something that I fully understand.
What's it say about your belief of the future
Well, that's
of real
what
estate?
that's where I'm going right now. Is the fact that he wants to get into real estate is all the more better. Because for me, I have a full belief in this industry. Do I think it's going to change? Absolutely, I do. But are people going to stop needing roofs over their heads? No. So whatever that adjustment looks like, what I know is that when all the pieces fall and when the storm ends, we're standing there. We're still there, you know? So am I saying that I'm getting him in because I think it's going to look like my career or he's going to be doing the same things every day no. When I was selling, we didn't have a team of ISAs.
Right.
We didn't understand building a business like this. We didn't understand the idea that, hey, yeah, these people need to be followed up with over and over and over and over, and it's probably a best bet to have people who are trained to do that, and that's all they do. That doesn't mean that myself back then wouldn't get in now.
Right.
It just means that, like I've said 1,070,000 times, right? You won't underperform. You will not be eliminated because of change. You will be eliminated or underperform because of your inability to pivot or adjust to that change. And so what I'm betting on is the jockey, and I'm betting on our ability to pivot. I love how everyone's coming out right now and trying to give clear and concise on what it's going to look like going forward. You don't know.
We don't know yet.
I honestly, I've looked at this. We'll probably talk about this on the 3 o'clock thing. I think there's so much change coming that we don't even realize. Like, if you look back 12 months from now to now, you'd be shocked right now and be like, what the heck? And every time something comes out, the call you just had with Leo and whatever, and people are like, what? It's a shock until it's not. Things are going to become normalized. And once they normalize them, we're going to make adjustments. And at the end, and it's not one of these motivational winners win, but there's a part of that is true, regardless of what's going on, regardless of what, at the end of the day, there are certain people that win and there are certain people that don't win. And so I'm on one part betting on the jockey, and on the other part, I'm betting on the idea that he wants to get into an industry that I know inside and out. And I'm betting on myself too, to know what adjustments to make and know where to train him and know what to tell him to be doing and know, I'm betting on our own ability to pivot, which I don't have. We've done that all along. That's nothing new.
I think it says a lot for everybody listening. Somebody like Jared, who works with thousands of agents across the country with Jared James Today. You can obviously check all that stuff out at jaredjamestoday.com, and all the work he does speaking and training and coaching, that you're willing to say, I'm fully 100% supportive of my 17-year-old son taking the step to go into real estate, knowing this industry is going to be here for those that you always say professional versus amateur, for those that are a pro in this industry and want to treat it as such. So, Grayson, all the stuff that we've been working on here over the summer, we've actually changed over the summer on the fly. Hey, I don't think this is going to work. We don't know about this yet. Let's tweak that. You know, you've even seen that in some of the conversations that we've had even recently. For sure. Or any of the things that we're talking about when we do the 9 o'clock trainings and all of that, where, hey, we're going to have to pitch our value to a buyer, you know, and that's a little bit different than maybe the industry's been used to in the past. For somebody fresh coming into this, is any of that scary to you? Is any of it concerned to you? Are you worried about it at all?
Like, at first, it was like a bit overwhelming, like seeing all of it, like all the scripts, like all the possible objections that there could be. But like, as like I've sat in the room, like I've been there for like a little over a month now, probably. Like I've kind of seen like I know the script well, and then like I've learned a lot of the objections and stuff. So like I think the more comfortable you get, like the more times like you get thrown different objections and stuff like that, you become more like comfortable like with going around them or finding a way to like market yourself in a good way. Like I think the other day we were I walked into the 9 o'clock training, and you were like just like said to me something like, if you're on the phone with somebody and they're like, why don't I just go with the listing agent instead? And I was like, because you're on the phone with me right now, or something like that.
Dude, he nailed it. He nailed it. I'm like, dude, that's so good. He goes,
you're not on the phone with you, I am.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, because you're on the phone with me right now.
That's not in your script, huh?
It's not in the script.
Like,
I said, guys, this
awesome.
is the type of curiosity he
That's
has,
awesome.
natural instinct of.
He knew that pausing and saying nothing made him look bad. He's like, so I just got to say something. You're on with me.
You're on the phone with me right now.
I'm the only one you got.
Let's get this problem solved.
Yeah.
I'm here with you.
It's a convenience thing.
I'm in it.
Awesome.
I'm in it, right? Well, people value time.
For sure.
So that's something that Uber's built on time.
Yeah.
And so you're like,
so
we're on the
great.
phone right now. You've got a problem. I can solve it for you right now. Let's go. It's go time.
It's the same thing. I don't know how much you know about the whole like drop shipping industry and all that.
Not much. Didn't look into it much.
But basically what it is like you'll
Byron's
end
a
up
fraud.
you'll end up like
anything.
selling stuff like on like Instagram and stuff like with ads and stuff for way more expensive than you can find on Amazon and stuff. But it works. Like people make a lot of money off it because you're putting it right in front of their face. It's just a convenience thing.
Yeah.
It's a convenience thing. It's so funny, man. You mentioned the buyer stuff. It's also funny too, because one of the things he says to me when he comes home is he talks about how much he loves it when people just go off script and they start saying things, because he's like, now I don't have to think about like what I was putting. I can just talk to him now. It's like now I can go back to ability and just talk to you, you know. And he has such a comfort level in the idea that like, okay, I'm not trying to close you. I'm just going to talk to you. That you know, that's a good thing from a sales perspective, you know. But I was thinking about it. You mentioned the buyer thing. The weirdest thing just popped into my head, because you're saying how much things are changing. And we're saying how, like, you're going to have a buyer presentation now.
Right.
And, like, this is how my head works. In my head, I literally just thought to myself, like, buyer presentations are about to become, like, the legs workout of your workout. Meaning, no one wants to do them.
Right.
But if you want a full body, now you're going to have to learn, you know?
Don't ignore the calves.
Yeah, and it's like, that's exactly it. And, like, buyer presentations are about to become the legs workout of our industry. Meaning, you may not want to do this full buyer rep and then like do the whole thing and here's what I do for you and here's da. But if you want a complete business, this is gonna be part of it now.
Where do you stand? And you've got some some experience now. Where do you stand, Jared? And then Grayson, we'll get your opinion on. There's one thought that says just be a buyer agent.
Yeah.
You just talked about a complete business. Sounds like you're on the other camp where it's like, hey, you should have a complete business solution for each side.
Well, I think a complete business means you're not doing everything. So yes, your business should have that. But do I think that first off, there's a lot of different ways for a lot of different people depending on what their goals are. The idea that there's one thing, it's like you were saying on your podcast the other day. You know, when we talk about that whole commission conversation and broker to broker, and you're like, wait a second, like now we're just saying there's only one way. It's supposed to be a lot of ways. And so one of the things that I do believe when it comes to the industry is, we teach different team building and we teach different, but we also have to understand different people's, needs and wants. A single mother with 4 kids is at a different place in our industry than somebody who, is now an empty nester and wants to go all in it's different than a college kid just getting started and can work 20 hours a day, which is different. So you have to start at the end and go, okay, where am I trying to go? Okay. Me personally, if you were asking me personally where I would stand today, what I would do, I think everything should be a team. And by the way, you and an assistant is a team.
You and an assistant, I agree.
It's like when you say this team thing, everybody got caught up in the KW days of before, and they think you're talking about some team they had a bad experience with 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And so call it what you want, infrastructure, call it organization, call it whatever you want. I think everybody belongs as a team in some level. I have a transaction coordination company. You and a TC is a team.
That's right.
You know? Now, where would I be going towards when I look at, scaling and business and being able to grow and, all those kinds of things? Yeah, I would absolutely have specialists at some point, that are specializing in listings. You can't tell me the personality profile of somebody who goes into a house and tries to close within an hour is the same personality profile as somebody who drives around with you for 4 hours, makes a lot of bad jokes, and tries to get along with you, while they're showing houses. No. Those are two different personality profiles. So can it be done? Absolutely. In the ideal world of highest percentage of closing, the most, you're going to specialize.
You specialize. Grayson's majority of your experience has been specializing on inside sales, which is different than a buyer agent,
way
different than a listing agent. It's a completely different type of sales. So you've got a lot of experience so far in the internship there. You have gone on a listing appointment.
I have, and I've gone on a showing.
And you have gone on a buyer home tour, right? A showing with a new buyer. I think that was with Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
So, you've got limited experience there being out in the field. Out of you saw what it looks like to go out and meet with a buyer, saw what it looks like to go out and meet with a seller, and you're seeing what the inside sales looks like quite a bit more. Of those three right now, limited experience, what do you think you're leaning towards? What's most enticing to you?
Honestly, I feel like listings look like being a listing agent looks very enticing to me, but even like it all, like when I first get started, I'm going to take anything that I can, like any lead that I can, I'm going to take it.
Well, why do you lean towards listings?
I just feel like it's very easy, like, because you get to market the property yourself. Like, I feel like there's a lot of creativity with it. And especially, you're going to get to know the seller of the home and stuff like that, which I like to do. Like, and then if people, like, if I'm hosting an open house and stuff like that, I could, like, show, like, my very personable side. And, like, I feel like I'm more in control of being the listing agent.
Where would you want him to see going into the business if he was going to specialize his talent?
Team leader.
Team leader.
No, but look, in the beginning, we all know what the path's going to be. Yeah. He's going to do multiple things at the beginning. I love that he's learning the phone because he's going to be on the phone.
Yeah.
But he'll be booking his own appointments, and then he'll go out and he'll be driving around and making bad jokes.
Yeah.
And just connecting with the people and just doing, like that kind of a thing. I think that the eventual place you want to get to is where you're, listing properties, marketing them, where you're a team leader, that's where everybody. But again, there are people who they love being on the buyer agent side. I would love to see him eventually go into that listing side, go into the team leader side, because it allows you to scale your time.
Personality, understanding where
that's what gets me, because he'd be really good on the buying side. Like he really would, and so that's going to help him early on.
Yeah.
But he'll be good on the listing side too. Like I'm thinking more of from a scalability standpoint, like where can he go? But you'd probably eventually do the listing side or the team leader, but I think he's gonna. I honestly, and I don't mean this because he's my son. I honestly, I keep saying it, but this is like he's like a carbon copy, and so he's very maneuverable. Who's that X-Men who can change into things? I forget the name.
You got this one?
Yeah,
I don't have this one.
No, but I don't remember the name. But there's that one who can do that. He is very much like that. So
are we gonna get him in Orlando for your event?
We're trying. So he has a soccer game Thursday night. Obviously, the event is Thursday, Friday. So I've already looked at the flights. He's got a soccer game Thursday night at 3:45. There's a late flight out of New Haven that gets him into Orlando around midnight. So he'd be there for Friday. He'd be there for the after party, the 10-year celebration. So I got to talk to his soccer coach and see if it's okay to miss practice Friday and Saturday. And that won't affect other games. So if that gets agreed to, then I got to talk to his mother, talk to whatever, and I want to get him and his brother out for that last day. It's been years since they've been to an advance.
Really, it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been a long
once
time.
Sports started happening, they can't miss practices. They can't miss.
I think one of you guys said that. I said, "Hey, you've been around it a lot, probably at a lot of events." Maybe it was you said, "I haven't really been to a lot of events. I've been when I was little, but not so much anymore."
They were the old days.
So committed to sports. This is the 10-year anniversary for. The James Advance. It's September
19th
and 20th. Bobby, we're going to put a link below for people. I'm going to be there. I'm going to spend the whole time. I'm going to be at the whole event. I think we're going to do a couple talks on stage.
You and I are actually going to do, so you're going to talk to Sheila, which I'm really excited about.
I'm going to do a fireside with Sheila.
The next era of real estate tech, which by the way, I'm so excited about from the perspective of, when you look at their tool Mosaik, they always say, when you say the next era of real estate tech, I was on a call with her yesterday. That next era now of having the consumer in on the transaction. So you had the dot loop world where you would have the loops, and we brought you into like everybody collaborates and we sign this, and there's whatever,
and then it's over. The loops, you never go back to the loop.
This is kind of Mosaik has taken that to that next level now, where like you're going to be able to bring the consumer into true transparency.
That's right.
Where they're not only seeing everything you're doing, but there's notes that you're leaving for them, and there's all, and like that to me is so needed in our industry right now, in a world where so many consumers are going, oh, my agent didn't do anything. Or what do you mean it was the easiest process? Like, no, it was super stressful. You just didn't know everything going on behind the scenes, and they shielded you from that.
Yeah.
And so you're going to do that, and then you and I are going to have a convo. We'll talk beforehand, but you have a really cool background, and, nobody gets here without some bumps and bruises, and everyone sees the finished product or whatever. And so we're going to have a kind of a real world fireside chat on what that looks like, and how you came up with the idea for your team, and why do you have an ISA team, and what bumps and bruises did you get, and so we're gonna have a really good talk.
I'm looking forward to being there. September 19th, 20th. It's in Orlando. It's a James Advance. We're hoping Grayson will be a star by then, so we're hoping Grayson will be there.
Oh yeah, can't miss him.
He can tell you about his experience on the pod. And if you can't make Orlando the following month, October, we've got BAM Mania. Go to bammania.com.
So bummed I can't
to grab your ticket there. Jared would be there, but he's already got a prior commitment before we asked.
Real story is you and I were sitting at a bar, and you threw out the date.
Drinking water.
Yeah, you threw out kind of like a you threw out a hook of like a let's see if he'd respond and say he'd be there, and I was like, what's the date, man? I'll see, maybe I can go. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, you're speaking somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm bummed, man, but we'll do one of these years.
You like doing all the speaking still?
I love doing the speaking. I hate the travel.
Yeah.
I just came off of about an 18-month time frame where we said no to 99% of things, where I just needed to be there with stuff for them. And, I was getting married, and I was doing, like, I was just kind of like, and recharging. And this fall, I'm kind of going back at it again. God knows there's enough to talk about. So I'm looking forward to that. I looked at my calendar the other day, and I was just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's hope that there's no flight issues like the last week.
I was thinking about the same things. It's the only month of the year, July, I'm not flying. I'm just in Connecticut the entire time.
It was bad.
And I'm like, so glad that's happening.
My wife got stranded.
Oh, really?
I ended up flying her half the way private just to get her home. She needed to get home to her kids.
Yeah.
Like everything canceled.
Because from where
canceled.
she had a layover?
She was flying. She went into Atlanta.
Oh,
which looked like you ever seen Crocodile?
That's like the worst
You ever seen Crocodile Dundee, where at the end he's walking across the subway on people's heads? Yeah, it was like that. It was insane, and everything we would book was just you'd go to start to board, canceled. Go to start to board, canceled, and she needed to get home to her kids. It was just like it was insane. But anyway,
all right. To wrap up, Grayson. Anything you want to say directly to your father that you could replay in 20 years from now, that you can document forever and always directly to Jared, your father? Anything you want to say to him?
Good Lord.
Anything?
Wow. What's going to
I
happen
don't know.
here?
Put me on spot right now. I don't know. I'll be nice. I'll just say you've done a really good job at like kind of like teaching me like principles and like morals and stuff like that, and like how to go about things, and like just like to never stop.
Oh,
yeah. I'll say something nice.
I hope in 10 years, Stella, I hope you watch this in 10 years. You say the same thing.
Hopefully
to
that's
me.
still the case.
Yeah, we won't be talking by then.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That was good. I listen. A lot of parents are listening to this, and they're probably saying, "Wow, I wish my kid would say something."
He's a good kid, man.
Moment.
In all seriousness, he's like I say it all the time. I got super lucky. Like I meet a lot of little bastards out there, and I got great kids, man. Like undeservingly just great kids that have been through stuff, have been whatever, and they're amazing kids. They're the kind of kids you want your friends to hang out with. Like they're good kids.
I'm happy to hang out with Grayson.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Anytime. At BAMX, we listen to what real estate professionals want and need. That's why our platform is filled with sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business. And that's why we launched BAMX in a box with templates and scripts done for you, delivered each Friday. The best part? It's not coming from panel pontificators who bought their followers and don't sell any real estate. It's coming from top agents, team leaders, and content creators in the industry. It's education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. And now it includes editable templates and scripts so you can easily deliver that knowledge to your database. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX, into our private Facebook community, content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. Do not wait any longer. Use code Byron and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code Byron for 10% off. I'll see you in BAMX.